Look, the Waratahs, I defend them to an extent because of the roster they have.
Fellas, when are you finally going to get it? This guy's the reason you're losing. It's not because of the coach, it's because of him.
Seriously?
Get out, throw your hands and get out there and play, you sods.
Ryan Fox finishes top 10.
He's off to a rocket start.
He's had a great first round. You look
He's
at
so relaxed. He's just been so chill.
He's probably still pissed.
Yeah.
Welcome to the DSPN.
Team New Zealand's in trouble.
He's done it again, Ricky Hogan.
The Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to a kind of a reduced podcast today, people. Martin Devlin, Lachlan Waugh, the DSPN. Thank you so much for watching us on the DSPN YouTube channel. If you can hit that subscribe button for us, we're trying to get to 7,000 subscribers as quick as possible and closing in real quick on 1 million views in just 23 weeks of doing this podcast. So thank you very much for supporting us and supporting our sponsor, Webwonks, as well. We're about to play a game of what is more chance of happening, where we go through the weekend and look at mainly the Super Rugby and NRL fixtures. And I put a couple of situations and scenarios to Lachlan, and he decides what is more chance of happening. What a weekend of sport we've got in store for us, though. Super Rugby, two massive matchups, New South Wales versus the Crusaders. Tonight, Cantab's desperate to win and hold on to a top 2 spot. Tomorrow night, Moana Pasifika host the Blues, with the loser knowing, well, their season's pretty much shot. The Warriors away the Dolphins tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Auckland FC play the first leg of their A-League semi-final tomorrow night, 9:35. Black Ferns are playing Canada this weekend. You've got the PGA Championship, the year's second golf major, on a weekend. And how about our man Ryan Fox, who, after winning his first PGA Tour event on Monday, said that he was pretty much celebrating all week. He said that he's had the worst preparation for any major this week. And what does he do? He goes out there, he fires 4 under on the first day, tied for second. Absolutely magnificent. So once again, if you do have that much of a say and the time to spend, plenty of excellent live sport to watch this weekend.
Devlin.
Time to play one of your favourite games, Lachlan. What is more chance of happening?
What has more chance of happening?
Yeah, we look at the fixtures across the weekend, scenarios and situations, possibilities, probabilities. I give you a couple and you tell me what is more chance of happening. Yes. Let's start with Super Rugby. What is more chance of happening? New South Wales upset, and it would be an upset, the Crusaders tonight, 9:35. Or Moana Pasifika beat the Blues tomorrow night, 7:05. These are the two biggest matchups, Super Rugby, over the weekend for New Zealand. Brumbies Reds we'll talk about in a second. Obviously, that's a huge matchup on that side. New South Wales beat Crusaders. MP beat the Blues. What is more chance of happening?
Well, I'd argue that the Hurricanes Highlanders game is a pretty big one for New Zealand sides, because if the Hurricanes don't win and don't get a bonus point, all of a sudden it's a nervy finish to the season for them.
They should win, though, shouldn't they?
Well, the Highlanders aren't the easiest side to break down.
I'm not saying, but this is a Hurricane side with so much motivation, everything to play for. If they drop this game, they pretty much...
And many times in sports, particularly this competition, when teams have everything going their way, players are back home.
There is that.
Against a national rival, a team you should beat.
Anyone who supported the Hurricanes over a period of time, or Wellington Rugby, knows what a banana skin is.
The Waratahs obviously are a strong side at home. They haven't won an away game this year, have they?
Strange that, isn't it? I've been saying this all season.
No Joseph Swaliti, which is a big loss.
And how about Greg Martin telling us yesterday
that it was an old fracture?
That jaw's an old fracture. So he's been playing for these. Probably every time he's bitten into an apple, gone, oh, God.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that hurt a bit. Yeah.
Get well, carrots.
Get well, Joseph.
That would be sore. I think you brought up steak on the podcast yesterday.
Yep.
You have to chew those buggers down, particularly if it's well done. Look, the Waratahs, I defend them to an extent because of the roster they have.
Fellas, when are you finally going to get it?
Their coach is Dan McKellar, who's a good coach, did a great job with the Brumbies. I think he got a job up north. I think it might have been Leicester, could have been someone else, but he got a job up north, and so that's always a good sign when a coach down here gets a job.
Doesn't he? He doesn't actually
play,
though.
Coaches have major impacts on teams, particularly in rugby. We know this.
What? So he's had a major impact the last 4 losses?
I'm saying he could have a major. No, they were the worst team in the comp last year. They were last on the table.
Good point. However, the Crusaders have got some key injuries. No Scott Barrett, no Newell.
Yeah. And those ones are, keep an eye on those. They're only meant to be out for 2 weeks, those two, at the most.
Yeah.
But
which means they should be back for the finals. But the Crusaders had got to win this one, because if they don't and the Brumbies turn over the Reds, that second spot all of a sudden looks really dodgy, because they're going to have to go to the Brumbies on the last weekend. So what's more chance happening? New South Wales beat Crusaders tonight, or MP beat the Blues tomorrow night?
New South Wales beat the Crusaders or Moana Pasifika beat the Blues. I think there's more chance the Waratahs win. And I'm leaning towards them purely because they are at home. I don't think Moana, we should give them the respect and place them in the running for a finals place the way that we are with the Blues and the Hurricanes. But I would be surprised if they're able to beat the Blues, because as much as it's a Moana home game on the shore, I mean, the Blues have only got to travel an extra 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it is just over the Rio Grande, it's just into Mexico. So.
Yeah, and I'm going to that game as well, so that should be fun.
Should be a hell of a game. What is more chance of happening then? New South Wales beat the Crusaders, or the Reds go to Canberra Saturday night 9:35 and beat the Brumbies?
I want to.
Excuse me.
I want to say the Reds beating the Brumbies, though I think the Brumbies have, obviously they're the best side in Australia, but they've done so, I think, particularly in the early part of the season when no one was really talking about them. They were still getting pretty good results. An away win over the Blues, an away win over the Enduro. No one was really taking notice because the Reds were winning everything.
Remember that game against the Chiefs at Hamilton where the scoreline blew out in the last few minutes, but they were in that game.
They were in that game. And that was
when the Chiefs were playing well.
If anything, and they went up to Brisbane, and I think they
won that game.
The Reds scored the first 14 points, I think it was.
And then they came back with something like 33 unanswered or 34 unanswered, something like that,
So I just think the Brumbies are a couple of pegs above the Reds, to be honest.
Okay.
The thing I like about them, I said this a few weeks ago, they have a style. It's not attractive. It's not spectacular and wonderful. It's pretty narrow if you're looking at your goalpost and you're looking at your try line.
I think the word's boring, isn't it?
Well, if it wins, if it wins matches, it's all that really matters. And so,
you wouldn't want the All Blacks playing like that. Come on, would we?
No, I mean, I used to be a bit of an advocate of England or South Africa or whoever, if they wanted to do 10-man rugby, do it. If it wins your test,
if it wins your World Cup
now, where I'm like, no, I actually want to watch entertaining rugby. But for the Brumbies, I don't know, isolating them, it works, and they do it, and they stick to it. And I like Stephen Larkham. I think he's a pretty likeable Aussie, to be honest.
Okay.
So anyway, I don't think the Brumbies are losing. I don't think the Reds are going to win.
We'll go back to it then. What is more chance of happening? Reds beat Brumbies or Highlanders beat Hurricanes?
Oh, Reds beat Brumbies. I mean, the gulf between the Hurricanes and the Highlanders, that I think we are working out with the Hurricanes, because we think they're at a certain level or can reach a level. They haven't done it this year.
They did it against the Chiefs. Second half, and they won away in Canberra with your beautiful Brumbies, went there and beat them and actually dominated that game. That wasn't wasn't like a smash and grab, right? No.
I hate the word should have, but they should have beaten the Western Force in that game.
I think that's two words, actually. Should and have.
Okay, the term should have in sports, because
everyone loves a corrector in English, don't they?
The scoreboard is the biggest
indicator, always is.
Indicator of reality. But the Hurricanes are firming as probably the biggest spoilers out of that top six once you get to the finals, because they're not going to be in the top 2 or 3.
Or my Georgia.
Well, which one? It was the Blues. Is it still the Blues?
It's still the Blues. Let's go to the NRL tonight. What is more chance of happening? Eels beat Knights in Newcastle, or Roosters beat Dogs? Eels Knights 8 o'clock, Dogs Roosters 10.
Eels beat the Knights, because the Knights, despite that win over the Rabbitohs at Magic Round, they are quite a tough team to watch. I mean, I don't know if you saw much of that Titans game last week, where they were at 20-0 at one point. I think it was 26 at halftime, 22-6 at halftime.
That's a coach killer.
And then obviously threw that game away. But it wasn't like the Knights were great in the first half. It was a tough watch, that game.
Aren't those, though? Look, every comp gives them to you, don't they? And look, I think the Drua Force is going to be one of those games this weekend. Not every game is absolutely, you've got to sit there in front of the screen for 80 minutes. There are games where you're looking at going, oh, God, I can't go.
Especially if it's like prime time viewing on a Friday night. And
I call it Stoke 0, Port Vale 0, that kind of game, right on a Wednesday night.
Hey, but they can help win your titles.
That's how you have, exactly.
In the case of the NRL, get you into the top 8. The Eels, I still think they have a couple of a good half or so in them. I think they can certainly push teams. I mean, they showed that against the West Tigers not too long ago. The Knights are gross to watch.
Right.
But I like the Roosters as well. I don't think the Roosters are going to win, but I take them. I think the betting line might be plus 7.5 on the TAB, something around there.
Okay.
I take that.
What is more chance of happening then? Your Roosters beat the Dogs, or the Dolphins beat the Warriors? What has more chance?
Dolphins beat the Warriors.
Saturday 5 o'clock.
If you talk about what has more, I'm not saying what's going to happen. What has more chance? Let's get that straight for the Warriors fans who want to.
Here they come. Can you feel the pylon coming? Here it comes.
Might need to shave my moustache for Monday. Because they'll accuse me of some things.
Well, this is it. I mean, the insults come thick and fast on the comments. And can I just say, look, I mean, you know, you can write what you'd write, I suppose, and if you're angry about something, but attacking a guy because he's got a moustache? Come on.
Oh, no, bring it on. I don't care.
You know,
do it. I love criticism. Because it means that I'm getting to people.
Well, it also means, I suppose, that you care enough to take the time, your own personal time, to write something. But, you know.
Yeah, how many times do you see like
the thing is, the moderator comes in and actually shuts a lot of this down and takes it out. So
yeah, how many times have you been on Twitter or Instagram, you see a comment or a post that you don't agree with, you think stupid, and then you get typing and then you realise, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
and then
matter.
You delete it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the great scheme of things.
You're replying to some anonymous twat, you know, who's sitting there just wanting to provoke you. And there are probably 6 of the comments that have come in. So
yeah, I haven't checked the TAB if the Warriors are favourites. I'd imagine they are.
Favourites,
but the Dolphins,
this is a tricky game.
They have points in them.
Yeah.
And assuming, I don't know what the weather's doing, but assuming it's a dry day in Brisbane, it's a fast track, the Dolphins can score some tries. So
all right, what is more chance of happening here? Dolphins beat Warriors 5 o'clock on Saturday, or the late game Sharks beat Storm 9:35. Sharks at home.
More chance the Dolphins beat the Warriors, I think.
You don't give the Sharks a chance?
No, the Sharks are far too risky. And as this year's version of Melbourne...
Is it the fin that you hate? What is it? Is it the fact that you saw Jaws as a kid and it freaked you out? Why do you hate the Sharks, mate? What is it? You just don't like... I
just don't trust them.
You're just whatever.
I just don't think they win as much as they should.
Here's a Broncos fan saying that. This is what I'm trying to provoke here. This is a Broncos fan jumping on the Sharks.
Hold up. I don't defend the Broncos, and if I'm assuming you're going to bring them up soon, I'm happy to rip into them because there's been some stories about the players.
Oh, really?
Have you seen these reports?
Oh, really?
They're not happy with the coach.
Oh, no. He's lost the dressing room, has he?
I think you're insinuating that I'm going to defend the Broncos and the players. I want those players out of there.
I've sat and listened to this for how long have I known you? 6 or 7 years, and all you've done is defend the Broncos, mate.
I've been pretty damn impartial with this team, and they have been awful, and I've been giving it to them.
Tell you what, if I was the owner of the Broncos, I would fly you to Brisbane to watch every game. And I'd take you into the dressing room and so you can jinx the players every time and say, this guy's the reason you're losing. It's not because of the coach, it's because of him.
Seriously?
Get out, throw your hands and get out there and play, you sods.
I mean, Kevin Walters was a bit of a soft touch. Well, not a soft touch, but he was he wasn't a hard ass as a coach. They didn't like him. Fine, get him out of there. Well, they weren't responding.
And then they don't like Madge because
they don't like Madge because he's too tough. Because he put them through army camps and
that's right.
Yeah, it's what you need.
He made me take my nail polish off.
So I don't care if it's Reece Walsh, Adam Reynolds. I don't care whichever players are saying they are unhappy with Madge and don't like being coached by him. Get them out of there. I don't care if it's Payne Haas. Get him out of there.
We're not even talking about the
Broncos. I'm sick of players, the Broncos players complaining about the coach. Seriously, shut up and do your job.
Do your job.
Yeah, you paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of you nearly $1 million, to play a sport for a living.
I've never bought into this, the coach has lost the dressing room thing. No. You've lost it as a person and a player. Your responsibility to yourself, to your teammates and your fans is to get out there, regardless of who the coach is, and take care of business is what it is.
Yeah.
And this is a team that's got none of that, is it?
For a big brand like Brisbane, and I think Man United would be the same.
Oh, don't bring that into it.
No, but you're never as big as the team or the club.
Never.
You never are.
Never.
I don't care who
Name on the
you
back
are.
doesn't count for jack.
No. And
it's this here.
particularly for the Broncos, it's like the All Blacks. There's been a slew of big names
you know what it is?
and all-time greats.
Man United's a good thing to bring up because these are a whole lot of players who are living on the achievements of guys that actually achieved something.
Yeah.
Just because you put a Man United shirt on, you're not David Beckham, you're not Scholes, you're not Giggs, you're not Cantona, you're not Mark Hughes, you're not Roy Keane. You loser. And you've done nothing and won nothing. Okay? And until you win something, you're jack shite is what you are.
You don't have any right or any place to sit there and complain.
Just because you're a Broncos player, you're not Gordon Tallis.
No.
You're not Alan Langer. You're not the King. You're none of those guys, right? You've won nothing. So what is more chance of happening then, Lachlan?
Just solve the world's problems.
The Broncos beat the Dragons or the Titans beat the Raiders? I'll give you an easy one.
Broncos beat the Dragons, without a doubt.
God, the whole world wants the Dragons to win this game.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I hope not.
I think everyone outside of Brisbane wants you to keep losing.
If the Dragons win, I think I'm going to have to take a break from this team for a little while. I love them.
That is so weak.
No, but I love them.
That is so weak.
I love the Broncos, and there's worse teams I could support. I'll be the first to admit that.
Why don't you do a thing with the moustache? Okay, so to do with that, like if the Broncos make the top 4, I ditch the tash.
No, because I look like a child if I don't have any facial hair. That's the problem.
But you'd be so delighted with the Broncos making the top 4.
No, because I'd sit there and say, this is what you should be doing. So it's like praising a goalkeeper for making a save.
Okay, what is more chance?
That is your job.
What is more chance happening then? Sharks beat Storm or Ryan Fox finishes top 10?
I'm going to say Ryan Fox finishes top 10.
He's off to a rocket start, isn't
he? He's had a little bit of a short space of time, but he's hit some form. He's playing at a course which suits his game. He's had a great first round.
He's so relaxed. He's just been so chill.
He's probably still pissed. Yeah. But you look at
he texted me. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to look. He messaged me earlier, and he was just laughing because I'd messaged him and said, "Well, that's obviously the perfect preparation for a match, mate." He just laughed. He said, "I don't know what's going on."
Yeah.
So he's a great guy.
There's a number of the bigger names that are way down the order. So it's primed for him to have a good, and he does well at the majors. I think it's 8 straight that he's made the cut.
He didn't play the Masters, of course. Yeah.
Well, 8 straight that he's competed in.
Yeah.
He tends to lift his performance a bit when it comes to the majors. When you look at the tournaments outside of the majors and then how he performs, the form goes up.
Let's wrap it up with what is more chance of happening? Melbourne Victory beat AFC Saturday night 9:35.
There's a chance.
Or Canada beat the Black Ferns 4:35 in Christchurch.
They beat the Black Ferns last year, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. That was in the WXV, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's got some name. They change it every year, don't they? But the thing about Auckland FC and Melbourne Victory, this is the same club that knocked the Phoenix out of this stage of the comp last year. Now, you can't really compare Auckland FC to the Phoenix, different teams, different clubs, different years, all that stuff. But the Phoenix were nearly the premiers last year and then fell away a little bit at the end. And then they got
came away
knocked
from
out,
the grand final.
and then they lost, I think, the first league, and the second league ended up being a draw, and they got knocked out. So I'm not saying that could happen, but Melbourne Victory have a lot of history in this competition, so you never know. But I would think it's going to be a draw there, and then it's going to be a win for Auckland back here in the second league.
How about this? Let's end on this. Do you know what the tickets cost to go and see the Phoenix play Wrexham next year? I mean, this is a promotional la-la match. It's against a second division English side that not a single football fan in this country could name any of the players. Right?
Oh, no, they can name the two owners.
They can name the two owners and one of the girlfriends of the two owners.
They can name one of the owners and then attempt to pronounce the surname of the other owner. That's it. And then and
against the Phoenix side, which has been rubbish all year. The Phoenix attracted crowds in their last couple of home games of 3,500 at the Cake Tin, right? $70 for a ticket. $599 for the ultimate package. Well, you're taking it, aren't you? You're extracting it, aren't you? Come on.
Obviously, you know why the tickets are that high, because they know there's going to be a huge demand for it. So
I don't think so. I reckon I'll be lucky to sell 10,000 tickets for that. Why would you go to that game? Why would you pay good money to go to that game?
Well, think about the people who will be attracted to it.
Who?
It's not you. I don't think it's not proper sports
fans.
Did
you watch Welcome to Wrexham?
No.
Okay, I watched about 2 episodes and I just said, I've seen this reality show before.
I just don't have any interest.
Yeah,
but I think there's more than one season. The second season would be the same as the first one.
Same as whatever.
It's a new season. We're trying to get promoted to the next
$70 a ticket? Give us a break. Come on.
No, but it's not designed for people like us. It's designed for...
Who?
Oh, okay. I was going to say I got to be careful. I can't say that. But
today's anti-bullying day.
I don't think it's quite. It's not designed for the diehard sports fan. It's designed for sort of a casual fan who enjoys the show.
I
would
be pleasantly surprised if they get more than they get for an actual Phoenix.
So if you're a 9-year-old kid, your parents are taking you along. You're a 9-year-old kid. Do mum and dad have to pay $70 for your ticket?
Yeah, and who do you cheer
Surely
for?
Not.
Who do you cheer for? Oh, the Wrexham guy.
Yeah. Oh, go player, defender.
Go Rob in the corporate box up there.
Will they be at the game?
Yeah, that adds another 90 to the ticket price, does it?
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't turn up.
Have a super weekend watching lots of sport, people. See you on Monday on the DSPN.
This is the DSPN.